New polling from the Texas Politics Project shows a lot more Texas voters are getting off the undecided fence and deciding who will vote for president, and a switch in the top of the ticket on Democratic side is part of the reason why. Joining us now is Dr. James Henson with the Texas Politics Project. Dr. Henson, hi there, and thanks for being with us.
Great to be back with you, Jenny.
Absolutely. Let's start with the presidential race. The Politics Project's June numbers showed former President Donald Trump had a 7% lead over President Joe Biden. But the September numbers show, since Harris took over the top of the ticket, that margins narrowed a bit, Trump leading with 49% to Harris's 44%. Talk to us about that change and what you all discovered in your polling about voter enthusiasm.
Yeah, well, I think there are two things going on here. One, as you allude to, is that Texas did look a lot like the rest of the country in August in terms of Democratic enthusiasm increasing significantly. When we asked Texas voters in June how enthusiastic they were about voting about the 2024 election, only 39% of Democrats said that they were extremely enthusiastic compared to Republicans, 55% of whom were extremely enthusiastic. That extremely enthusiastic share jumped from 39 to 52 among Democrats in August and actually dropped about 6 points among Republicans. So one explanation is this increase in enthusiasm. The other explanation is that, Joe Biden was, setting a very low baseline and was underperforming in Texas. His replacement by Kamala Harris, the accompanying enthusiasm towards her and the good month she had in August, wound up bringing the race back a little more into line with what we would expect based on the last few presidential elections in the state.
And Dr. Henson, a big reason for that change at the top of the Democratic ticket was age. And your polling revealed that some Texas voters are now taking a closer look at former President Trump's age.
Yeah, I mean, we had been asking about the age of the candidates, for the duration of the Trump-Biden presidency. And while a good share of voters said that they thought that Trump was too old, it was really hurting Biden much more. With Biden gone, we've seen the share of voters saying that Trump is too old to be president increase somewhat. In our August poll, about 46% said that Trump was too old to be president. That was up a little bit from what we saw in June. So, that's mostly among independents and Democrats. We're not seeing a lot of reservation among Republicans, right, frankly. So while I think there's more attention to Trump's age now, it's simply not evolved into the kind of vulnerability so far that it certainly became for Joe Biden.
The two candidates are expected to meet for the first time in their first debate tomorrow night. What are your expectations right now?
Well, I think given what we saw in the last debate, everybody's being a little bit careful about their expectations. But, my sense is that we're going to see, both candidates try to throw the other candidate off their game and define the candidate within the narrative that they are trying to set. So we're going to see Kamala Harris, in all likelihood, try to make Donald Trump appear small, erratic, unpredictable, and, in line with their campaign, kind of a hot mess. I think what we'll see from the Trump campaign is an enormous effort to paint Kamala Harris as too left and out of the mainstream, as a candidate that is too radical for mainstream politics in the United States. And in many ways, I think it's a little bit of a tougher situation for Harris than it is for Trump in terms of defining the candidate. Donald Trump has been in the spotlight for a long time. Most people know what they think about him, and barring some really catastrophic performance by Trump in some way, it's going to be hard to change voters' opinions of him by and large. Kamala Harris is a much less of a known quantity. So what you'll really see is Donald Trump trying to define her in a way that is at odds with what the Harris campaign is trying to accomplish, and serves the purposes of the Trump campaign.